On the record here in Fremont County, this is CR 2220-CR 2220-838, State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow, aka Lori Noreen Daybell. This is a remote hearing that was scheduled this morning. My name is Judge Edens. Here on the remote Zoom hearing. We have Mr. Wood appearing for the state. We have Mr. Means, the attorney for the defendant. I also have Ms. Daybell appearing from Madison County and some IT people here to help us out. This matter is being streamed live via YouTube. This is, again, CR 2220-838. The court received information from the defense counsel that a waiver of preliminary hearing had been signed and executed, and that it was going to be filed today. The court set this hearing so that we could take up the matter and in due process vacate the preliminary hearing that's scheduled for next week. Ms. Daybell, can you hear me okay?
Yeah. Yes.
Ms. Daybell, I have in front of me a waiver of preliminary hearing that has the title on the top, State of Idaho versus Lori Noreen Vallow, aka Lori Noreen Daybell. Do you have that document in front of you?
I do.
Ms. Daybell, I can barely hear you. Do you mind speaking up?
I do.
Ms. Daybell, there are two charges on that document, count 1 and count 2, and there are 14 separate paragraphs that are listed on there. Is that the document you have in front of you?
Yes.
Ms. Daybell, did you get a chance to review this document in full with your attorney, Mr. Means?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about the document?
No.
Ms. Daybell, on page 2 of the document, under paragraph 14, it designates nothing. I just want to make sure that that handwritten thing of nothing was there at the time you signed this. Is that correct?
Yes. It was.
Did you say it was?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And it just below that, there is a designation that I understand these rights, and by signing below, I waive my right to a preliminary hearing. It has a printed name, and then it has a signature above that. Is that your signature?
Yes, it is.
And then you dated July 17th, 2020. Is that the date that you signed this document?
Yes.
Right below that, Mr. Means, there's a signature of an attorney. That is your signature, is that right?
It is, Your Honor.
All right, on the date there, it shows 7/17/29. I'm assuming that's a typo, is that correct?
Yes, the 29 is a typo. It should be 20. You're correct.
All right. Based upon that, via interlineation, I'm just going to cross out the 9 and put a 0 there. Mr. Wood, in your question, you making that change?
I'm sorry, Judge, what's that?
I said, any objection to me interlineating that?
No objection, thank you.
July 17th, 2020. Ms. Daybell, do you have any questions about this document at all today?
No.
Do you understand what a waiver of a preliminary hearing is and what this document represents?
Yes.
And you're doing this freely and voluntarily, is that correct?
Yes.
You understand that there will be no preliminary hearing that is currently scheduled for Monday and Tuesday. That will be vacated. Do you understand that?
Correct.
You also understand that you'll be bound over to the district court where an arraignment will be scheduled in front of Judge Boyce. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right. Mr. Means, anything else we need to take up today?
No, the only thing I'd add, Your Honor, is when the documents were signed back on the 17th of July, that was purely for logistics reasons, given the distance between the office and where Ms. Daybell is currently in detention.
That's understood. I appreciate that clarification. Mr. Wood, anything else that we need to do here on the record today?
No, not from the state.
All right, that will take care of it. We'll send notice out of the arraignment date. Mr. Means, if there's a specific date that you'd like us to consider, please let us know and we'll take that into consideration in scheduling this. Otherwise, we'll be adjourned pending that arraignment date in front of Judge Boyce. Thank you all for appearing today.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
If you hadn't already seen that, you've now seen it. You can also rewatch that at Dad with a Phone on Facebook, YouTube, somewhere else probably too. What does it all mean? What is it? What's behind it? Why would you vacate your right to a preliminary hearing? Well, two reasons. One, you don't want to go through the shame of it. I mean, think about what Chad was drugged through. Now, somebody asked, do you think she's running for a deal? Do you think she's going to make a deal? Well, what do you think? If you're guilty of stuff, even if, let's say, let's play let's play the advocate for Lori over Chad. All right. If you're guilty, but you know Chad is more guilty, are you running for a deal? That's the question you have to ask yourself. It's the real question when we're playing in these courts of law. It's about reasonable doubt of the evidence. And then if I can point the finger at the other guy, yeah, I'll do 3 months in jail. You guys, I don't think you guys realize. I mean, some of you might realize, but I don't think you guys realize what they have been charged with is the equivalent of the lowest degree felony, like tampering with evidence and stuff. It can be a very low degree felony. It's not like a first degree felony. I don't know, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you. Maybe their charges carry 20 years in life or 20 years max. Um, but if she were to cut a deal, she may cut a deal where she does either time served and or some sort of very minimal jail time if she cuts a deal. Now, I think the deal has to be this is what Alex did, this is how he did it. This is what Chad did, this is how he did it. I think Chad 100% helped dispose of the children's body. He is experienced at this. He's a grave digger. They're buried on his property. If I have to try to convince you that Chad had some sort of say on where and how those bodies got to that place on his property, there's no doubt in my mind that he was involved in it. I have no doubt that Alex is a killer. I believe he's a cold hearted assassin for this cult. Where does that leave Lori? Now, if I'm playing devil's advocate against Chad and Alex, and I'm Lori's attorney, I'm telling Lori, let's give them something. What can you tell them? What can we give them so that one, you lock solid their case against Chad? Two, listen, your charges are not crazy. If we plead guilty to lesser charges and we do 6, 8 months, 10 months, a year, honey, it's COVID. It's COVID, honey. It's COVID. We may get you out of here. You've already done. You're already going to be in. We're going to get you time served. The judge already said we're going to get you time served. Whatever happens, honey, time served, COVID. So until someone, okay, reports are, reports are, they may get Lori on conspiracy to commit murder against Charles. a cop says, I may have some evidence now, I may have something, I may know something, I may be ready to, I'm thinking about pressing charges. Well, first of all, it's not the cop who presses charges. They have to come with enough evidence to the district attorney's office. The district attorney then has to look at it and say, guys, but guys, y'all had this video, but guys, you talked to him, but guys, you were on the scene. But guys, what did you do? How did these two walk away? Because if we say she did this, then what we're really saying is we let them walk away and there are two dead children. Because if you bring charges now, after the fact, against conspiracy to kill Charles, you could have saved the children. So don't believe every reporter that puts out a tweet that says, oh, the cops are close. They might be close. They could have saved the kids had they not just skated through that investigation in Chandler, Arizona. There's a couple of times they could have saved these kids. Law enforcement is only playing catch up because grandma and grandpa persisted. Don't think the cop's going to do anything for you and your family. You're gonna have to stay on. Somebody comes after your family, somebody does something to your family like this, you almost have to handle it yourself, because if you can't pressure the cops into doing something, they're not gonna do it. There's like 5 dead people behind these people, and they're walking around in Hawaii. They're not even charged with real strong felonies. Oh God, I don't know if it's white privilege or what. I'm aggravated. I'm aggravated that nobody's been charged with murder. I'm aggravated that um, Lori got the wherewithal to not have to really face. You notice how we got the Zoom meeting for Lori, the pretty little blonde, but we got the television coverage for Chad. Anybody see they're trying to press? You seeing who they're trying to press? And I don't know if Lori's running to try to catch up or if she's playing this just right. I don't know. At this point, I didn't think what was going to come out in the preliminary hearing was going to come out. And so, with what came out in the preliminary hearing, and now all of a sudden the next day, Lori's like, Ixnay, waive my right. Let's head to district court. Or is she running with a deal in hand? She playing catch up? She in this marathon and she's like, oh shit, Chad's coming to play to keep. I got to get in front of him. He's trying to push this on me. I promise it's not the COVID. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out in district court. Hey, I just looked at the map. I was like, how far is it to freaking Madison County? Where's this thing going to play out? Because let me tell you what does happen. So now they're on the same schedule. They were pretty close anyway, right? But now they're really on the same schedule. So they're probably going to hit district court day, same. Could be same day, same judge. Could be tried together for all I care. This thing could go try them some bitches together. Charge them with the same, try them together. Yeah, they should try them together. And I don't know. Maybe that's what they're going to do. It's cheaper for the court. I don't know what it looks like in a. I think since you don't have to, since you're only having to approve they conspired to, conceal evidence. Uh, until you charge somebody with the murder of them. And if you're going to tell the story, then tell the story. If one of them comes forward, have them tell the story. The deal should be, listen, you better tell the story so convincingly that Chad doesn't even try to mount a defense. Like if Lori's going to come out, then you better tell the whole story. The only way hey, baby girl, take a lesson from KK. The truth will set you free. The truth will set you free, Lori Vallow. Unless the truth is you're the mastermind. If the truth is you're the mastermind, then lie, lie, lie. Hey, want to give a shout out to an Amazon documentary called Dishonesty. Dishonest? The Truth About Lies. It's like $3.99, rented on Amazon. It's amazing study on the brain and the human behavior about lying and telling the truth. And if you're a true crimer, you're going to want to see this just because you'll understand the truth about dishonesty. You're going to understand about the truth about dishonesty if you watch the documentary Dishonesty. It's like in quotes, honesty, the truth about lying. It's a good dog. What do you think? Should they be tried together? Should they be tried separately? Is Lori running for a deal? Or is she playing catch up? See, she could really be playing catch up to Chad's mustard because he's already out in front. He's already gone. He's already there. And she's just trying to get on the dog, trying to say, hey, let me play. Y'all like my hot dog reference there? I don't know why I'm thinking about that. Looking at my general dog right now. Thinking about, you look like a hot dog, General. And she's playing catch up to his mustard because he's already out there, or she could just have a deal in hand and we don't know about it yet. KK has like half a year and she's out, and she was involved in murder. So if Lori had the right lawyer, but I don't think that's the case. I think she's playing catch up. I think she's trying to play catch up. I don't think she has a deal. I personally, I don't think, if you're asking me, if you're saying, what do you think? I think she's playing catch up. We're going to district court. There's a possibility. There's a possibility these things go to trial. If they go to trial, holy smokes, can you imagine? I don't know. What do you think? I'm out of here. That thing happened in 3 minutes. Chad Daybell stretched a prelim hearing for 2 days. Stretched a prelim hearing for 2 days. I wouldn't say it's unprecedented. Like I wouldn't say, oh, that's unprecedented. That a preliminary hearing was 2 days, but it's abnormal. I can promise you, it's abnormal at best. It doesn't happen very often that very many, even in murder cases. I'm talking about where the defendant is charged with murder. Where the defendant is charged with murder, sometimes the preliminary hearing can stretch out for 4 hours. Maybe you get an all-dayer if you got some talking lawyers. But 2 days? But 2 days? Somebody said the trial of the century. I mean, epically, it is reminiscent of the OJ trial in a sense of we were all glued to wherever. The medium is different now, right? You can watch it live with dad with the phone, or you can watch it live on court TV, or you could watch it because it's everywhere, right? So epically, yeah, it is close to the OJ trial, the trial of the century, the what is gonna the story, or it could just turn into, listen, we'll plead guilty if you don't give us the death penalty. Like, if it goes to trial, I don't know if Idaho's got the death penalty, but if they don't have the death penalty, maybe they should. Does Arizona have the death penalty? Fudge, So does Wyoming have the death penalty? Does anybody think that the trip to Yellowstone and the little um strip of land that they call immune to the murder charge has anything to do with the Chad Daybell case? Were the kids murdered at Yellowstone the last day they were seen alive, or were they murdered later? How, like, were they murdered at the apartment? Were they murdered at the Daybell house? See, like, that's the story they had to tell in the Patrick Frazee case where they didn't have a body, but they had an eyewitness account who was willing to go on the record and say, listen, the guy who killed him told me this, and then I cleaned up the blood. I helped burn, I helped put in the fire. Is Chad going to say he helped Alex and put it all out on Alex? Is Chad going to say, no, it was Lori and Alex? Is Lori going to say it was Chad and Alex? Is Lori going to say it was Alex? That somebody has to tell the story of how the children died if anybody's going to get pressed the charges with murder. I think the only way somebody gets off right now or gets a plea deal is if they're willing to point the finger at the other person and say they murdered the kids. This is how they did it. This is my part in it. This is where I was at, how it was done. This is the only way a deal could come for Lori or Chad. And I'm not telling you that they would get a deal of not going to prison. I'm just saying they would get a deal. The only way you could go with to the DA is say, listen, my client is willing to tell you how the kids were murdered, who murdered them, what their part was it, in order to throw themselves at the leniency at the minimum charge of what they've been charged for. So Chad's been charged with these minimum charges, right? You have to understand why they haven't charged anyone with murder yet. Because once they file charges of murder, they're not taking those back, right? But if you charge somebody with these minimum charges, these minimum felonies, you mess with the dead body, you played with some evidence, you covered up a cell phone, you lied to the police, you lied to the whatever, right? These minimum charges, right? You got these minimum charges hanging over you. Your attorney goes, okay, listen, my client is willing to tell you that Chad Daybell murdered those children. This is how, when, and where he did it. My client helped him cover up the bodies, and my client helped him dispose of some of the evidence. She lied to law enforcement, but she was scared for her life. She was under this cult spell. She's willing to throw herself at the mercy of the court in exchange for her testimony against him for murder charges now. We're not talking tampering shit. We're saying you put the murder on him and we'll talk a deal. So you have to understand how the DA is working. And if they don't get that, maybe they charge them both with murder. I don't know. I'm looking at this thing from the outside in and going, if one of these people doesn't break, they have a real good chance of minimal detention time. If they don't get to put murder on one of them, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. What do y'all think? They got a lot of stuff as far as cell phone, high tech shit. Juries love that shit. Juries love cell phone pings and maps and fucking diagrams. They love to look at that shit because they think that if you're holding your cell phone, then obviously that's just like them. I got control of my cell phone. I mean, like, very few people let their cell phone just wander into other people's hands, right? Very few people just be like, oh yeah, hey baby, yeah, you can take my cell phone for a little bit, no problem, go murder somebody, bring it back, whatever, you know. Very few people. Where's your cell phone at right at this very moment, right? So understanding that cell phones are not necessarily exact direct reflections of in-person people, they're close. They're close. So juries love that cell phone ping shit. They love it. Well, that's what I'm saying. So if murder, somebody in chat says if murder was on the table, those charges would already be out. I think that's true, except unless they don't know if it was Chad or Lori or Alex. They know it was all three of them, but they don't know who actually killed the kids. They may know how the kids were killed. They may have that information in the autopsy. We heard a little bit about autopsy in the preliminary, but basically just that it was done. Basically that they did an autopsy. They're not going to give the autopsy reports of type of death, and they're not just going to say that they don't know either. So they're gonna hold that information. They don't have to give that kind of information out at a preliminary hearing. Now, that's what makes a preliminary hearing so strong to drive a co-conspirator to come forward and go against another co-conspirator. When they came out with this strong preliminary evidence that was just really needed for probable cause. They didn't the only reason they came out with all that evidence was a message to Lori, hey girlfriend, we got some shit, you know what I'm saying? And if you want to talk, let's save us some time. You waive your right to a preliminary hearing and let's start talking discussion deals. See, Lori waives her right to a preliminary hearing. It tells us nothing. She's now got to go to an arraignment. But hey, if I waive my right to a preliminary hearing, I'm in discussions with the DA's office. I'm cooperating. You'd be amazed at what a white woman can get done in the judicial system. That may be a racist comment. You may say that's racist, Dad with a phone. I am just stating the facts. You look at the percentage of white women in the correctional institution and tell me it may be the lowest demographic of women in the correctional facility. I could totally be wrong, but I bet I'm a little bit right. If she ends up working a deal in between now and whenever her hearing is, Y'all just be like, "Phew, well, Dad told us that's what was going to happen." I don't think Chad's going to work a deal. I think Chad's fudged. I think Chad's screwed. He owns that property. He was there when it happened. He was staring at where they were digging. He was talking to Lori on the phone. How brilliant. Mother effer kids. You guys don't understand how good of a story it really is that Chad was talking to Lori while they were digging up the shit. They probably had cameras on Chad. Do you realize the lifetime dramatization that they can relive? She's in jail. He's free. They're digging up the backyard, and those two are just chatting away on the phone, knowing that it's coming to an end. It's coming to an end. Oh my God. I can already tell you at least 3 production houses that are already. Hey, by the way, People Magazine and the People Investigate are doing a documentary of the Kelsey Barrett case. They're going to be here in the next couple of days filming. And they just sent me another message. I'm pretty stoked. They just sent me another message that they invited me to something after we're done filming that I'm actually nervous about, and I'll tell you more about that stuff as it happens. I'll probably take you live on location as we're filming some of that stuff, but yeah, they invited me to a special kind of thing after they get done here, and with some special people, and it should be interesting. It'll be good. So I'm excited about that. Now, flip back. What are we talking about? We're talking about Lori Vallow. Oh, they're gonna make some movies, kids. They're gonna make some movies. Dateline obviously is already doing something. Inside Edition's already doing something. People Magazine will probably do something on the Vallow case. Oxygen Network, Killer Couples. Fuck, you can get a whole damn series just out of the Vallow case. You could do a whole series on killer couples just with Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow. You could run a whole 16-week, 16 series episode just on the Vallow case, dramatizations, court recordings, all kinds of crazy stuff. It's going to get wild and crazy. I'm interested to see what kind of games Lori's playing. I don't know if she's playing catch up. I don't know for sure. So I'm still confused. So when you get done watching this video and you're like, what the hell did Dad say is happening? Well, don't just understand that I'm as confused as you are. We spent 2.5 days in a preliminary hearing, hearing all kinds of details to then go into we're waiving our right to a preliminary hearing. And I don't know if we're playing catch up or if we're cutting deals. She might be cutting the steak deal and he might be getting the hamburger. You know what I'm saying? Who's getting the Salisbury steak and who's getting the filet mignon? Or are they both getting freaking noodles? Getting the almost famous burger. What is it called? Almost burger, Impossible Burger from Burger King, whatever the one was. That's fake vegetarian. Are they both getting that on the Cisco food truck? Who knows? Hey, thanks for watching Dad with a Phone. And we got some other stuff going. We've been in some talks. We got some things flipping right here at the beginning of the year that we want to talk to you guys about, and some other things we got going on. Some trips we'll be taking, but who knows with this COVID thing, to be honest with you. Freaking, you start looking at things and you're like, what the hell are they doing to us? I need to do a COVID video, a new COVID video. So, anyway, I'm out. Thanks for watching Dad with a Phone. It's been fun.